everybody, and welcome to a special one-of-a-kind episode of The Point, where we're going to be talking about the election of 2012. And before we get to that, I want to say a big congratulations to the Young Turks news organization that did some fantastic coverage last night. And congratulations also to them for their success. 130,000 viewers last night online for the Young Turks. So fantastic. And the people who hosted that, Ben Mankiewicz did a great job. Jimmy Dore is a favorite, and he did a great job too. But so today we're going to let me introduce you to our panel to talk about what the election meant, the surprises, what it means going forward. Right now sitting next to me is Steve O. He's the executive producer of the Young Turks and this show right here, The Point.
Yes, I am.
And you're also, I didn't know this, but you're also known as the audio guy. Is that true?
Yeah. I don't know anything about audio, but that's a weird nickname that I got because when I first started, I used to sit right behind JR. JR is he's not even our audio guy, but people thought he was the audio guy and that I was his assistant or intern.
Oh, okay. So it's just a mix-up.
Yeah, it's a mix-up.
It's not really that funny or interesting.
Not really.
Okay.
And I don't even like the nickname.
Okay.
I feel like George Costanza when they were calling him some other nickname, and he's like, call me T-Bone. And yeah, that's me.
I will call you T-Bone from now on. How about that? Sitting next to you is Nikki DeLoach, a singer, actress who's appeared on a number of popular shows, including North Shore, Ringer, Cold Case, and CSI New York. She currently stars in MTV's most popular scripted series, Awkward. Right, now I haven't seen Awkward, but I hear you're fantastic on it.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you, I'll take that.
And I'm glad that you're on the panel because not only are you beautiful, but you're smart, so we're doubly intimidated. That's nice.
Thank you. Oh,
Okay.
I'm intimidated. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. Next to you, it's Chuck Martin, comedian who's currently on tour with Jerry Seinfeld. He's also a writer, producer, and director who won an Emmy for his work on Arrested Development, where he served as Chief Liza Minnelli Wrangler. Is that true?
It's actually true. And it was not easy, let me say that.
Oh,
I think for a while there she thought maybe I was her husband. It was awkward. But she was very nice.
She thought you were a little gay?
Look, all right.
That's why she wanted to marry you? Okay, all right.
If that's your joke.
Okay, so...
Oh,
no, I meant...
Oh, nice.
Welcome to the show, Chuck.
That's not how we meant it. Okay, so we're taping this the day after the election, and we didn't know what was going to be the result, so we didn't have time to prepare. And did you watch Dick Morris's predictions? Dick Morris, I still think he's trying to figure out a path for Romney right now. I think there's still a way for him to get there if he gets Mars and Florida. So. So right now, let's go to, here's my favorite predictor, if you guys like, but Tom Brokaw had a great prediction.
My guess is it's going to be very, very close, but it could all turn around on Tuesday and go one way or the other for either candidate.
Huh? I like when Tom sticks his neck out like that. Thanks, Tom. But turns out Tom was right. It did go either way. It really did. He was right on it. So, well, let's start with you, Chuck. And what are your big impressions from last night? What stuck out to you?
You know, overall, I mean, I was nervously confident all day. That was how I felt. I felt like, you know, Obama was going to win, but it's like, what if they rig it? You know, I always think in the back of my mind, you know, there's some way this couldn't go right. But my thing is the polling is, you know, they always go towards the middle there. It's neck and neck. You know, they want to keep the rating. It's neck and neck. But if you follow like some of the better pollsters now, like Nate Silver, you know, he had it going the other way, and it was like, that to me is more accurate because I think, you know, who answers their phone? Who has a phone?
A home phone, you mean?
A home phone.
Yeah.
And if you have it, who's answering it?
So you're saying that I'm with you. I have a home phone. I never answer.
I never answer mine either.
I don't have one.
Okay, and you don't have one. Okay.
So 70-year-olds think it's neck and neck.
Right.
That's.
Well, here's my takeaway on that. I was not the least bit nervous. In fact, I predicted that Obama would win every single swing state except North Carolina. I predicted,
come on.
I did.
You were dead right.
I tweeted. I predicted 332 electoral votes for Obama.
Wow.
And the reason why I did that is because I don't think North Carolina is an actual swing state. I think it was an anomaly that he won last time. It's still a red state.
Yeah.
But all the other actual swing states, I didn't see Mitt Romney winning a single one. And here's why. The momentum for Romney was already shifting. He was fading down the stretch even before Sandy hit, Hurricane Sandy. And once Hurricane Sandy hit, and people saw what a competent administration and a competent government can do for them, people are going to understand there's a big difference between a Republican like George Bush, who was a disaster during Katrina, and someone like Obama, who's on top of things. Plus, there was just no enthusiasm for Mitt Romney. Chris Christie and other Republicans who have aspirations for 2016 have been quietly undermining Romney for months now.
Yeah.
So, plus you bring in the fact that he's Mormon and the evangelicals don't quite trust him all the way. I just didn't see him winning any of the swing states.
Now you're from Georgia, right?
That's a swing state.
I'm from Georgia. Yeah.
Swings
Swings
red.
light red
It
or
was
dark red.
slow. It was really close.
Now,
there.
do you think there's anything a Democrat can do to ever win Georgia?
I don't know. I really don't.
Maybe lower his IQ 20 points? Come on, people.
Or be from there,
Or be from
which
there.
did not help Romney.
Yeah.
Well,
Jimmy Carter
is from Georgia.
Right.
Yeah.
Did he win Georgia though
I
when he
hope
ran?
so.
He did?
Yeah.
Malcolm says he
I
did.
don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think being from there, people look at a guy, oh, he's one of us. That would definitely help. But outside of that, I think people are deeply entrenched in their ideology down there.
So
for right now.
For me, the big story, one of the big stories from last night was where the Democrats won, right? So we have senators now in red states that are Democrat. Indiana, right? Murdoch lost, right? So now that's a Democrat. Missouri, Aiken lost, right? So now we have.
Right.
So
the election gave rape a bad name.
It did.
It
Yeah.
clearly went against rape.
It certainly went. Americans break against rape.
Yeah.
Also, so that's Indiana, Missouri, North Dakota. Also, we got a Democrat. So that, to me, that's kind of a big story. You didn't. Do you guys feel? Let me ask you, Steve. Do you feel that the Republicans are crushed, as some people are saying, that they're totally desperate because they've lost 3 out of the last 4 elections, big?
Yes, I agree. I think if Obama had played it differently, he could have absolutely destroyed this party even a couple of years ago. I'll get back to that a little bit later. But regarding yesterday, for me, Obama winning was not exciting at all because I totally expected it. What was exciting is the American people's complete repudiation of the extreme positions of the Republicans. We said no to people who say rape is okay, or they didn't say rape is okay, but they think rape is a legitimate way for procreation.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane. We
It's
live
what
in
God
2012. It's not 1412. And we don't like people who are against science, who are against women having sovereignty over their own bodies. And not only do they
women don't like it either.
yeah, and not only do they,
They came out and
not only do
voted.
they believe it, but they're so brazenly outspoken about it. And they are thumping their Bibles and trying to shove it down everyone's throats. And America said, no way. We don't want that. We don't want you. And they voted them out. They all lost. Joe Walsh lost. Aiken lost. Murdoch lost. Alan West, he lost. I'm loving this. And to me, this is the most hopeful part of the election process, that America is, at its core, a progressive nation. We believe that we're all in it together. We want to give people a hand up and create equal opportunities for everyone, and that we're not going to go back to the dark ages where we, oppress certain groups because of what they believe in or what they look like. I mean, gay rights, big win yesterday.
Big win, yeah.
So all around,
So,
it was
yeah.
a very progressive win yesterday.
It was. I was just going to say that was for me the most exciting thing, because I do feel that there is a new governing coalition out there, and they're saying that we want to move forward. This last election, people said, oh, well, he won because he was charming, and he won because George Bush was so awful. And this time we said, no, we actually believe in this cause. We actually want to move forward.
Do you think it's a victory for liberalism?
I think it is a victory. I think it's a victory for people who no longer want, the same ideas. They want to move forward. They want a new face for the American family. They believe in women being able to choose what they decide to do with their own bodies, and gay rights, and I think it was a big win for all of us.
There's a lot of propositions across the country, right? So medical marijuana plus just recreational.
Yeah.
So if you were, and then there was some gay same-sex marriage propositions that passed. So if you're a gay pot-smoking pregnant woman, it was a really good night. For
Really
you.
good night. And obviously the people in the state of California definitely want condoms and porn.
It sounds like it.
That was a big win for condoms and porn.
Actually, Nikki makes a very good point about this election being different different from the last one in the sense that it wasn't just about the repudiation of a horrible president like George Bush. It was more a repudiation of that entire ideology and the embracing of the democratic progressive vision of America. So that to me was the most heartening, uplifting part of it.
I think the whole thing, like to all your points about what happened last night, goes to the generational gap. It's the same thing I'm saying about polling. You know, those people are underpolled. And young people actually did show up last night, which everyone was saying.
More so than 4 years ago.
More than 4 years ago.
More so than 4 years ago. It
Yeah.
was bigger youth turnout. I mean, Romney got the white male vote 2-1, but Barack picked up minorities, college-educated women, and the youth vote turned out big time for him.
Yeah, in fact, Dick Morris, the great predictor of our times, I think his nickname is Nostradamus. He actually did a little mea culpa on air today.
He did?
Yeah, where he said that his prediction of a Romney landslide turned into an Obama squeaker. That's what they call it, a squeaker, because of the youth vote and the minority vote, and that he thought that the historic levels of voting by those groups in 2008 was just a one-time thing because it was a historic election with the first black president, but he was lamenting the fact that that youth vote and the minority vote is here to stay.
It is here to
and
stay.
that it's going to reshape the culture of America.
Yeah, he looks so smart the day after the election.
Now, Chuck, what about so do you think the suppression of the vote, the efforts, those were unsuccessful?
I think it backfired on them. I think the press of that and everyone, you know, it made people angry enough to go, oh, you know what, I am going to vote. I think that actually backfired.
I think that I agree with you. In fact, I heard a statistic on the radio on the way in here. It was that there was a state that has you have to show voter ID, and voting of minorities actually went up. So the black vote actually went up in that state.
Yeah.
And I think it's exactly because of that, because they feel them being pushed down, like we don't want you to vote.
Well, there are giant, you know, there's big radio hosts and TV hosts that, you know, we don't know exist. You know,
Yes.
Tom Joyner is massive.
Yes.
And huge listening, and even in the South, everywhere. And those guys kept beating that drum. And Al Sharpton, same thing. Get your ID, go vote. They pissed them off.
And it really did. But you know, I also still heard accounts of people in Florida voting at 1 in the morning, still waiting to get.
After
Florida, by the way,
the election was called, there were still people
Still waiting to
vote. It was a 10-page ballot, which was that's a long ballot. But outside of that, nobody. I mean, people were waiting for 4 hours, up to 6 hours, some of them, to be able to vote. That is crazy.
I mean, not only that. I mean, I think as of right now, we don't even know if Florida is called yet, right?
They're still counting.
I mean, how crazy is that? 12 years from 2000, and they still don't have their act together down there. That's insane.
That is.
Can't we just? Isn't there like a giant knife where we can just cut it off? You know, it's hanging down there in a weird way
to get to Georgia, I have to fly into Jacksonville, Florida. So can we just cut it off after Jacksonville?
More like a circumcision.
Wherever you want. Yeah.
Just the
Okay.
tip.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Just the tip.
You know, Florida's Governor Rick Scott, I think, is one of the most evil men in politics we've ever had.
Well, he's a legitimate criminal, correct?
He is.
Yeah.
He's a horrible human being who made all of his money by scamming
defrauding
the government. Defrauding the government. I don't know the exact figures, but he basically ripped off $1 billion
through Medicare.
Yeah, through Medicare, and then paid a fine of like $200 million. So he's way ahead. And you know, while he was governor, he had everyone submit to drug testing, both state employees and anyone who got state aid, people on welfare. You know why? He owned a freaking drug testing company. I mean, it is such self-dealing and just, I mean, not just appearance of impropriety, but actual impropriety. This is the same man who does everything possible to suppress people's votes. And you know, for Obama to be up by however many votes he's actually up by an additional couple 100,000. I mean, because there's a lot of people whose votes have been just thrown away.
And people did get out of the line. I know that, you know, they checked in immediately. You know, they check in, they go down, they check you in, and then some people, those ballots didn't show up.
It may shock you to hear this, but the long lines were predominantly in the poor Democratic districts.
That is a shocker.
Wow.
You're kidding me.
No, yeah.
I thought
Believe it or not.
by that news.
I mean, 4, 5, 6 hour wait for these people.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
So
it
now,
took me 20 minutes and I was still annoyed.
Yeah, me too. I couldn't find a parking spot. I almost didn't do it. So,
It's California, we're going to win.
but isn't that really a failing of the Democrats and the Democratic machine or organization to make sure that those things are taken care of before? Why the hell?
I totally agree.
I completely agree too.
I totally agree.
I was sitting there watching when some of the early news was coming out about Florida. I was having post-traumatic stress disorder, like watching and saying, "Oh, 700 of the ballots are being thrown out," and I was like you. I was nervous. At the same time, I was confident. But I mean, yes, that is our responsibility. It's like if you know that it's happened once, the chances of it happening again are pretty good.
But that's how smart the Obama machine, that campaign is. They spent the resources in the right places. I mean, look at your prediction came out exactly right. They lost North Carolina. That was it. They won every other swing state because they put people on the ground that did their job. I mean, the fact that the election was called at 11:15 Eastern time. I mean, I walked into a party at 8 o'clock and like people were cheering already. I'm like, what's going on? 10 minutes later, it's over.
Yeah.
I was shocked, but it's Ohio. They knew Ohio was it.
Okay.
And that's what they did.
You got the last word in this segment. We're going to come back. In our second segment, we're going to talk about the lame duck session that's ahead for this Congress and a lot more. Stay tuned. Hi, welcome back to The Point. I'm your guest host, handsome Jimmy Dore, and I'm sitting here with a great panel. We're talking about the elections and last night, and what does it mean going forward? And I think it's interesting because everybody's talking about the grand bargain. So the grand bargain is that they have to cut defense, Social Security, Medicare. So they have to make these that's the fiscal cliff. Yep. And so, Nikki, let's start with you. How do you? What do you think that? See, my personal feeling is that Barack Obama is not going to use this as a mandate for liberalism, that he's going to use this as a mandate to compromise. I really do, too. I mean, I liked Harry Reid's quote, "It's better to dance than fight." And I think at this point in time, everyone's going to have to come to the table. There's going to be a point where it's going to reach a lot of intensity, and they're going to have to come to the table, and they're going to have to really work this out together. Yeah, when you say work it out, what do you think it's going to look like, work out, Chuck?
I think it's going to be a little different.
Really?
Now that, because I really think Obama was overly cautious and overly compromising and all that.
The first term?
Yeah, and I think he thought he had to be, because the fear of just being painted, they did it anyway, but like the angry black man and this guy, who the hell is he?
Right.
Just swept in.
Foreigner.
I think this time around it's going to be like, guys, come on in, close the door. It's just going to be a little more, we're going to get this done and no one's leaving until we do. I think he can wield that power now. I think it might be like that with a lot of issues. I just don't know if it'll be like that with the fiscal cliff and with this, only because, I mean, he took the electoral vote, but look at the popular vote. He has to pay attention to that. I'm sorry, half of this country is scared and they're nervous, and the business community is nervous. So this is going to have to be something, I mean, I agree with you. I would love for him to come in like, gangbangers and just be like, guys, this is what I'm doing. I just don't know in this climate of nervousness, I mean, if he can do that. I think his first term, it was the white half. I think this next term, we're going to see the black half.
I would like nothing more than an angry black man to take charge.
I'm ready.
And kick ass.
I agree.
And restore order. But I don't think that's his nature. I think he is a kind of person who likes to get along, not fight, and compromise. I think that's just his personality. But the thing is, to go to your point, Chuck, he has a lot more leverage this time around.
Yeah. He does,
because the Bush tax cuts expire at the end of this year, unless something is done. And then sequestration goes into effect. So there's automatic defense cuts and automatic cuts on spending. So he has bargaining chips that he can kind of ram down people's throats. So he can say to the Republicans, look, this is going to happen unless you give me this. But again, I just don't think that's his style. So I'm curious to see what happens. To be honest, I'm not that hopeful, because I do believe that Obama believes, for some reason, at his heart, that we must cut Social Security to balance the budget. And the reality is that that's not the case. I mean, Social Security is good to go for, what, another 30 years?
Until 2037, you don't have to do anything, it's completely solvent.
Yeah, and then all you have to do is just raise the Social Security tax from 100,000 to like 120 or 130, and boom, you're good for another 30 years.
Right.
The problem is they already spent that money.
That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. So now what do you do about it? So with Obama now, what he could do is he could, excuse me, he could he could cut the, rather let the Bush tax cuts expire.
Right.
But the Republicans want more than anything else. They want those tax cuts.
Yes.
Yeah.
They don't give a damn about the deficit. Not
They
one
don't,
tiny
right.
bit. They talk a big game about the deficit, but they want those tax cuts at all costs.
Absolutely.
So how hard they fight Obama, how hard Obama fights back, that's going to be very curious to see.
Well, and the other thing, I'm sorry, I
Go
would
ahead.
just say real quick, the congressmen are going to have to run again in 2 years. They're going to be
Right.
they're going to
So
be less flexible, and Obama doesn't have that issue.
This is exactly what I wanted to talk about, because some people are saying that I'm curious how the Republicans will react now, if they actually will come to the table. I've heard that they won't, that they're actually going to become even more strident, if that's possible,
I'm
in
shocked
their
again.
opposition, because somebody was making the case this morning that in 2006, right, so when so they lost in 2004, the Democrats just went totally against George Bush, and they had a successful election in 2006. So there's nothing in it to lose for the Republicans right now, so they're going to be even more strident. Do you think that's what will happen?
I don't know. I mean, I think the Republican Party is just, they're crazy. They can't get any crazier than they are right now.
I think, you know what, just when you think they can't.
Yeah.
The Civil War has already started within
The Republican
I mean,
Party?
the statements they were giving out today were all over the place. You know.
So some of them are angry at Mitt Romney. Some of them are angry at Chris Christie.
But some of them know and are saying, guys, we're screwed. You know, let's rearrange this and those people, if they can get a hold of it, you know.
You know what's great is that the Republican ideology has been completely disproven. So they want to be a party of angry old white people who don't like brown people, who don't like gay people, who want to keep women oppressed. That game plan doesn't work anymore.
Right.
Americans don't
I
like
think they
that.
know that.
And it's I mean, they're at a very bad position because the demographics are completely changing. The Latino vote is getting stronger and stronger, and some people predict that by 2016, Texas will be a swing state.
Yeah.
And then by 2020, it might be a blue state. Because California used to also be a red state, but now it's a solid blue state. Now imagine Texas goes that way. They're done.
39 electoral votes.
So
Yeah.
They're done.
The question is the changing demographics. People are saying that they were blaming demographics. Some people who weren't blaming Mitt Romney or Chris Christie were saying demographics are what's really the thing doing it. And because 2 for 1 white males voted for Mitt Romney, but there just aren't enough white males to go around anymore.
Right.
And and especially in coming up in 2016, they can't. That's over. So they're going to have to figure out a way to reach out to minorities and women, and or else they'll just be losing again. Which I hope they don't figure a way out.
And the youth vote, because all these social issues go right to the youth vote. They don't. These kids don't care.
Right.
In 2016, those people that will be eligible to vote were born in like 96
Yes.
or 98, whatever that number is. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
They were born in this whole different world,
It's
and
really
they're going to
interesting
be
too
voting.
because the world is changing faster and faster. It used to be glacial change. Now it's very fast change. Just 8 years ago, many people think Kerry lost because of Gavin Newsom putting gay marriage at the forefront. And there are all these gay marriage initiatives on the ballots in many states, and all the conservatives came out to vote, and therefore Kerry lost. That's part of the theory. Now, I think gay marriage helps Obama. It helps the Democrats. It's a winning issue now. And it's going to be more of a winning issue 4 years from now.
Well, and the other thing I was just going to say is that the percentage of those people in the Republican Party, a lot of those people, I don't think they believe, that the ones who came out and voted, I don't think they believe in a lot of the things that some of the crazies are saying. I think a lot of them showed up to vote Republican because they were just doing worse economically. Like,
I agree with that.
I think
That's
they
a
were
great
just doing worse on an economic level, and they came out and they're like, I desperately need that change, not because they agree with them ideologically.
Yes, and people who were doing a little bit better
Voted for Obama. Yeah.
That is how it happened. And but going forward, do you think that we can progressives do anything to stop the president from cutting Social Security?
I think they can. I think, he is also aware of 2016. I mean, he's, a lame duck at this point, but he's I think, very smart. Here's the thing about Obama, too, that I've always had this theory on him that, early on in his term, all my progressive friends were just outraged. Like, why aren't we getting everything right now? Why isn't, gay military? What's he doing? And I kept saying to them, I think this guy, and if you look at his overall political career, has a very good sense of timing.
He
like
does,
knowing
yeah.
when to do things and when, okay, boom, here we go. If you look at what he accomplished and how he spread it out, that makes sense. And I think he's going to do the same thing with,
the second term.
The second term. I think it's going to play out.
Do you think we'll have serious Wall Street reform sometime in the second term? I don't think so. Do you?
That probably not.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's bad. That's what he uses, timing.
No,
Right.
look, I like President Obama. I think he's a good man. I think he wants to do good things, and I trust him to do the right thing on a lot of the social issues, like gay marriage being one of them. Where I'm just so incredibly disappointed with him is on the issue of civil liberties, especially especially because of the fact that he was a constitutional scholar or a constitutional professor even. And I went to law school, so maybe I hold these values a little bit more dear to my heart than the average American. But issues of First Amendment rights, all the rights that are in the Bill of Rights. The fact that George Bush and Dick Cheney just absolutely shredded them, just destroyed them. I thought Obama would restore them, and he didn't. And in fact, he's
But where does
exactly
how
the
does
same
that
thing.
affect you?
Me personally?
Yeah, any of those.
Well, I don't know.
Like what liberties do you want back?
Well, if he could get thrown in jail indefinitely without a charge. That
Yes.
could happen,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So it probably won't happen to him.
But other than that,
Yeah. well, here's
okay, fair enough.
here's how it bothers me personally. I mean, so we snatch people up because they're suspected terrorists.
Right.
Right now, they're usually brown Muslim people.
Right.
So nobody seems to care. But let's say the next administration or the one after that starts to, target Jews, or starts targeting, right-wing Christians or whatever it may be.
What was the famous quote
Do you
from
really
Walt-
think that's going to happen? Do you think that's possible?
I would have
Yes.
never thought
think it's possible?
torture would happen. I would have never thought we would have an illegal war in my lifetime happen.
Right.
There's so many crazy things. I would never think that they would put the banks back together. I would never thought any of this stuff was going to
we have
happen.
people
I
right
never
now-
thought we would elect a black guy with a Muslim name president. All this stuff that's happening is amazingly
Look,
that's happening.
right now in Guantanamo Bay, we are still holding people after all these years who have just such tangential relationship to anyone related to terrorists. I mean, like people who are conscripted by, 17-year-old boys who are conscripted by the Taliban at gunpoint to help out. Like those kids are still in Guantanamo Bay.
Right.
Well, our drone strikes have increased by 100-fold. We used to have 60 drones. Now we do 6,000 drones, and those things create more terrorists. And it only takes one horrible event in America to set the American people on fire again,
As
where
we
they
saw
do
with the Iraq War.
crazy shit, right? So yes, I can see it happening. If the destruction from Sandy was mind-boggling, but imagine if a terrorist bombed the New Jersey Seaside Heights Pier, and those amusement park rides were crashing into the ocean, and you saw pictures of American children dead.
Right.
They're gonna go ape shit, and there'll be a new round of, let's round up every single Muslim and detain them indefinitely, torture them if necessary. I'm afraid of that.
I can only assume, though, that, as a candidate, you have all these things you want to fix. But then, that first day, and they brief, when they give it that full briefing, of like, all right, here's what's going on, I think it's got to send chills and go, oh, we have to keep doing this the way we're doing it. That's my assumption.
Let me change this topic real quick. We're close
This
to the
is
end.
so much fun.
This segment. Third parties. Did they mean anything in this election? I didn't vote for a third party this time. I usually do, but I don't know. Something about I wanted to vote for Barack Obama twice. I don't know why. But do you think third parties, ever see? I think that what might happen is that a third party might come out of the Republican
That's
Party.
right.
Yes.
The
chances
they're
of it,
the new Whigs.
Yeah, yes.
And I think if they continue down this path and they allow, like you were saying, are they going to allow the Tea Party to keep a stranglehold on them? It's quite possible that even
They
if it's
have
just
to.
I don't know. An independent, and it's going to be somebody like Michael Bloomberg, some sane person to front it. They need a headliner.
Yeah, they need a headliner. It's not Gary Johnson, and
Right.
it's not Rocky, and it's not any of the Buddy Romer.
Right.
It's got to be, even though they're governors, you'd think that they would be able to get some press. They were governors. And,
Right.
But yeah, you need somebody like a Bloomberg or, right.
Yeah,
We'll see
some
if
big
that
name
happens.
that people go, oh, okay.
All right, great
know.
stuff. We'll be right back with another segment on this week's Point. Hi, welcome back to this week's special episode of The Point, where we're talking about all things related to the election. I'm your guest host, Jimmy Dore, and right now we're going to talk about, let's look back to our favorite moments from the Republican primary, because we all knew it was already a foregone conclusion when the primary started that it was going to be Mitt Romney, right? Because they're not going to nominate Rick Santorum or Herman Cain. You know, Herman Cain, I said it before, the more he talked, the more I realized the pizza business pretty much runs itself. And Rick Santorum, he's against contraception, yet he still wore a sweater vest. Kind of a contradiction there. So I would, I really loved the Republican primaries. I miss them. I wish they could go on forever. It was my favorite TV show. Now, you're from Georgia. Did it make you cringe, laugh, cry, or all of the above?
All of the above.
Okay.
It did. Yeah, Herman Cain was, he was so entertaining.
Yes.
He was
Herman
so
Cain from
entertaining.
Georgia?
No, but just watching all
Atlanta,
of them, like,
though, right? I think
he actually lives
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Atlanta. Yeah, I don't
And-
know if he's from there, but
And Newt Gingrich is your guy, right?
Yeah.
Newt
Yes.
yes, Newt.
Sure.
It made me cringe.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It made me cringe. It made me cry. It made me laugh. And maybe this is very Pollyanna of me. You know, I know that Democrats say, no, keep those people in there. It makes us look better. It keeps, you know. I don't think so. I want good representation all across the board. I want smart people. I want people who care for the 100% on both sides. And so I would like to see all the kind of crazies.
Nikki, I agree with you 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Because
That's not a real
That's
thing.
not a real.
Yeah, 100%.
It only goes to
yeah.
100%.
Yeah, but I do. I wholeheartedly agree with you.
Okay, good. At
And you
least
know what?
somebody
I
does.
didn't enjoy that freak show called the Republican primary. And
did.
you know,
I
it's
liked it. I
amusing,
did too.
but it's bad for America. It's bad.
so bad
because
for
it lowers the bar
America.
so much that the Democrats have to be only slightly better, slightly less crazy, and then we have to vote for them. Because
Yeah.
realistically, we have two choices. I know, we have third-party choices too, but not really.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a Democrat or a Republican that's going to win the presidency. And when we lower the bar so much, you know, I mean, it's actually no surprise to me at all that the political spectrum has moved so far to the right. And that Obama himself, I think Obama today is further to the right of Mitt Romney as governor of Massachusetts. Okay? And here's why. The more right the Republicans go, the Democrats have to be just to the left of them.
Yep.
So they have more people to attract.
Yeah, we need to be
And-
raising the bar
yeah,
across
I
the
agree.
board.
I
and
agree.
and I feel
So
like
you're not a Pollyanna.
No, okay.
You're a true American. Yeah.
I know. I want good choices on
I
either side, because if
disagree.
we get stuck, sorry. If we end up having a Republican as a president one day, or even a congressperson or senate or whatever, I want that person to be smart and I want them to be good, and I don't want to sit there and be scared.
I would have been fine with John Huntsman.
I've been okay with them.
Yeah.
But go ahead,
John
Jack.
Huntsman, fine, but I enjoyed it. I mean, to me, first of all, there were literally
Primaries you enjoyed.
20 of them, I think.
Yeah,
the
it
debates.
seemed like twice a week.
Of
yeah.
the debates, yeah. To me, it was a sitcom. I T-bowed them
Yes.
and would laugh and
Yes.
laugh. Rick Santorum, by the way, he was my favorite. By the way, a sweater vest is a contraceptive. I don't know.
It is.
Yeah,
That's a
totally.
great
Like,
line.
this isn't
Yes.
happening. But
Let's
my
ask
favorite
Nikki.
thing that
Have you
Santorum
Have you
said.
ever seen a man with a sweater vest and thought, ooh,
I want
yeah.
some of that. No, hasn't happened.
Besides Sam Cedar.
My favorite moment, though, of the whole primary process was Rick Santorum at one point during one of these interviews was talking about homosexuality and how it could lead to, it's a slippery slope. He literally said,
Yeah.
and then included bestiality in it. So he literally thinks homosexuality can lead to bestiality. And by the way, how does that work exactly? Like, some guy's walking down the street one day and he's like, oh, there's a cute guy. Wait a second. I didn't see his German Shepherd. I mean, how are you not laughing at this?
I would slip, can I just, I have a favorite, my favorite moment of all the Republican primaries was when Ron Paul they asked him about his foreign policy, and he said, you know, maybe we just practice the golden rule. You know, we do to others what they do to us. And they booed him.
Yes.
At a Republican primary filled with white Christians, they're booing the golden rule.
Yeah.
And that's that kind of goes to the crying part of the.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was my. Did you have a favorite?
Ron Paul too. I remember. I don't know which of the 20 debates it was, but at one point it was pointed out that he's a gynecologist.
Yes.
Which I was like, what woman wants that coming at him? Like, he's a gynecologist? Oh my God, that creeped me out.
My favorite part was Rick Perry. When he's like,
Rick
I'm
Perry.
going to destroy 3 branches of government. Get rid of 3
Cabinet. Right?
See, now I'm pulling a Rick Perry.
Yeah.
Right.
Oops.
Yeah.
3 the government.
Not branches, but
I like how we're all doing Rick Perry
Departments
now.
of the
3 departments. Yeah, that's the right one.
Of the executive.
3 departments.
We can
Department of
edit this part out,
Education
right?
was one of them. I forget.
Yeah. No, that was
He
great.
said commerce, education, and oops.
Yeah.
That was his third one.
Education and oops. That's what it was.
Right, and you know what? I rewatched that the other day. It was worse than I remembered it.
You rewatched it?
Yeah, well, some people were it was playing on
okay.
some show and they showed it, and
I bet you had recorded it, and then you went back and you save it and watch it on Friday nights.
There were some hideous moments there that really made me cringe, and I just felt uncomfortable. I was like,
Yeah,
is this
me too.
really America? Because there was a question about, to Rick Perry about, you've executed so many people in your state. Do you ever lose sleep at night that you might have executed the wrong person? And he's like, no, never.
Yeah.
I sleep great. And the audience
applause.
cheered.
Yeah.
They cheer their heads
In
off.
the
They're like,
Reagan Museum with Nancy
Yes.
sitting there.
That
Yeah,
made me
that's what
so
that
sad.
That's a pro-life crowd.
That makes me so sad.
Well, yeah, that you can be for the death penalty, you can be for the war, you could be for torture, you could be, I'd still consider yourself pro-life, which is kind of a crazy thing.
They're pro-zygote. I don't know if they're pro-life.
The pro-egg.
It all comes back to where the Republican Party, I mean, that's going to be the interesting thing. It all comes back down to where the Republicans are going to end up going.
Right.
And
By the way, just on that point, Mitt Romney, I was thinking last night watching his 5-minute thank you, goodbye speech. But I thought he had this look of relief on him, and I thought, I bet you somewhere deep down inside of Mitt Romney, he's a little relieved he didn't have to move into that tiny little house. Here's the idea of him like loading boxes and really, this is it?
No, my heart went out to him. I mean, I'm so happy Obama won, but it's gotta hurt to lose. I don't care who you are, it's gotta hurt to lose. It's taken up 2 years
it would be the first time he ever
your
felt
family.
pain. So that's probably it's a new experience for Mitt Romney. He didn't get something he wanted.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's not used to that, and he has a sense of entitlement.
He wasn't able to buy what he wanted. For the
Right,
first
and
time in
that's
his
a
life.
real shocker. It's supposed to be America. Why can't I buy this?
Yeah.
Right, so let's talk about quickly the propositions. Now, Proposition 30, which was to give $6 billion to education in California, and that passed. Right, so it turns out people are pro-education.
Yes.
And yet, somehow, they have everybody convinced that teachers are the enemy of the economy, and if we just fire enough teachers, somehow things will start picking up again. So, do you want to say something about that?
Yes, I do. Well, my mom is a superintendent of a school system. My sister's a teacher. My mom was a teacher and a principal for many
All
years.
right.
And I will say, though, that there are some things that have to be changed in the teachers union. There are teachers that should not be teachers.
Okay.
There needs to be a revamp of that. I mean, believe me, the teachers are not the enemy. They're not the enemy of the state. And the most important, influential people in my life have been teachers and professors. But there's some reworking that has to be done in terms of firing, letting go of really.
I liked my bad teachers. At one point in high school, I remember there was a woman that was so daffy teaching American history that I was able to sneak out of the classroom during class. I could literally like open the window. It was a first floor like window thing. My friends would sort of cover. I'd be gone. Be like, she's fantastic.
So you're saying we need more bad teachers?
Yeah, I think it washes out personally in public schools. I think because I had great ones and then I had bad ones
So, but what the bigger point is that there's a movement to fight. They're firing teachers. They're actually doing. So you're not for firing teachers.
I'm not for firing teachers,
Okay.
no, but I am
adding
for
more teachers, but better.
Better teachers, of course. Lower the amount of kids that are in classes.
That's the big thing.
That's the huge thing.
People don't realize that class sizes are close to 40 kids now.
Oh, and in California, we have the largest number of kids in classrooms than anywhere else in the country. It is.
Yes.
It is absolutely
And people are angry
crazy.
to teach your kid math. You can't even teach your kid to shut up on an
This is
airplane.
why too, like
for
the
sure.
proposition, the whole system is a little screwy. Like anybody can put a prop up.
Yes.
You know? And
Yes.
so those same people that voted for education also said, "Oh no, let's keep the death penalty in this."
Yeah.
Right.
That makes no sense.
So
to me.
34 was another proposition. It's very near and dear to our hearts here because we did a video in favor of Prop 34, which was going to get rid of the death penalty in California. It didn't pass. One of the big reasons. What's the biggest reason to get rid of the death penalty, Steve? Besides that, we kill innocent people.
Well, it also costs us hundreds of millions of dollars every year
Absolutely.
to maintain the infrastructure of the death penalty. And you know, we did this PSA here at the Young Turks, and there are all these comments below that said, you know, all these wise ass jerk offs who are like, oh, a bullet costs 50 cents. Why does it cost so much to execute someone? It's just idiotic
Ties up the
comments.
system.
It's just
It's-
idiotic.
yeah.
All right, so yeah, you know what? We can have a very efficient system where we just process the death penalty cases and just put a bullet in everyone's head. But I guarantee you, we're going to kill a lot of innocent people. And is that what we want?
It's very.
And the same people who don't trust the government with a freaking quarter of a penny
Right.
tax increase are the same people who trust the government
To kill them.
To kill
people.
them, yeah.
Yeah.
It's insanity on
Right.
top of insanity. It drives me crazy. And to go to your point about our proposition process being screwy and wacky because anyone can really do it. It is screwy and wacky, but not everyone can do it because you can only do it if you have a certain amount of money.
Right.
So any special interest that's properly funded can do it. And now we're finding out that there's massive amounts of out-of-state money flowing in state.
Prop 8 is a perfect
Absolutely.
example
Yeah.
of that. That was,
I mean,
the Mormon Church spent, half of the cost of that was from the Mormon Church.
And,
Yeah.
and $11 million was funneled through various charities into California to fight against in favor of Prop 32.
Yes, in favor of Prop 32. Now, Prop
Yeah.
32, well, so this is the problem with the proposition system because
They're
they can
so
be
deceptive, yeah.
Yeah, they
Yes.
are very
So
if you
they-
vote
deceptive.
no, you're for the thing. Right.
Proposition 32 is supposed to be this idea we're going to get special interest money out of our elections. We're going to get special corporate money out. But what they really were doing was getting union money, working people out,
Right.
and they exempted themselves. They exempted oil companies. And so people got wind to that. I thought that was doomed. I thought for sure
Yeah.
that was going to pass. But people got wind of that and they voted that down. So that didn't happen.
They worded that so cleverly.
Oh,
Because-
boy.
Because they said, it's time to make your voices count.
Yeah.
Not the voices of the special interest groups. But what they're really doing with this proposition is that you couldn't take automatic deductions from payroll.
Union
Yeah.
workers, they take money
Yeah.
out of their check to go to the union, and then the union takes that money to spend on political advertising, and they're trying to stop that.
Right. So it would eviscerate the unions, but the corporate interests, they don't do that. They just they have giant, massive coffers which they use to fund.
And
their
that's
causes.
the first thing they tried to do in Wisconsin when they tried to make it so that you can't deduct a union due from a guy's paycheck,
Yeah.
that they have to send it in themselves. And so that anything to weaken the working man's voice in the
Right.
government. And it's just, it's perplexing to me, what's the matter with Kansas? Why do these people not see through? Why do people in Wisconsin not, it's blue, they just elected their first female gay senator, yet they still get snowballed by Scott Walker? Are you shitting me? How do they not see through this guy? So that's confusing to me. Isn't that confusing?
The good news is all the porn actors now have to wear condoms.
Yes.
Okay, so measure B.
I mean-
all right, measure B.
By the way,
People were I was listening to the radio the other day, and they were doing this whole segment on people. Who is the oldest person who has never voted in this country? They were trying to find the oldest person who's never voted, and there was this guy in his 40s that called in and had never voted, and he was like, "But I'm voting this year." And they were like, "Well, why are you voting this year?" And he got so angry. He's like, "Because I don't want condoms in porn!" Like he just screamed it from the top of his lungs, and I was like, "Well, I guess everyone has their issue."
Right. And that caller was Ron Jeremy. And by the way, shouldn't that have been called Measure C?
Yeah,
They kind of messed that up a little bit.
very nice. So now, if you want to shoot a porno in LA County, you have to get a certificate from the Board of Health that says you're going to wear condoms, which means you're going to go shoot your porno in Orange County.
Yes.
Right.
That's all that means.
That's all that
I
means.
like the phrase "shoot your porno."
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do another episode of The Point on just porn.
Just porn.
Just porn.
Let's
we're
do
gonna
it.
have
All right.
porn actresses, porn actors, porn producers, creators,
Okay.
distributors, and we'll talk about the porn business.
Okay. All right. I say we do one right after this show. Same panel. Let's get in our costumes. What do you
I
say?
think so. Let's make that happen.
So leave a comment underneath here, and then we're going to come back and say goodbye to our panel. Okay, this is, I just want to say thanks for watching this week's Point. I've been your guest host, Jimmy Dore. Let's say thanks to our panel. Chuck Martin, what do you want people? Now, you're on tour with Jerry Seinfeld, correct?
I
And
am.
What else is happening?
Next time is Foxwoods MGM in New York, December 8th.
Okay, tell Jerry I said hello.
I'll do that.
He doesn't know me. All right. Nikki, now you're on the MTV series Awkward.
Yes.
Correct? We can all check that out. When is that on?
Check that out. Well, third season will be out next summer, but you can buy the first and second season.
Oh.
I have a couple movies coming out. Golden Christmas 3 TV movie, November 25th, and a movie called Flying Lessons in theaters, December 7th.
All right.
And,
Flying
What are you doing
lesson.
here?
And you can and you can follow me on Twitter at Nikki DeLoach.
Okay, it's right under there in your Chiron. And Steve-O, you're going to be taking your kids to lunch tomorrow? Right? What do you got going on?
Nothing but insults for Steve today.
You know what?
Steve is my Pollyanna buddy.
Yeah,
I like
that's right.
it.
We're true Americans.
Yes,
we
we
love
are.
America. Yeah, I got nothing going on. I did start following Nikki on Twitter.
Okay.
Nice.
So I have that, and
You're going to be producing yet another show for the Young Turks Network?
Yeah, that's what I do here. I just
He
work.
develops
It says
shows?
right there,
Yeah.
coup. The Young Turks. I don't know what else you need to know.
Thank you. I'm the coup here.
He's a
Yeah.
coup. Okay, for everybody, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on The Point.